Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady viewing at home, today is Monday. I hope you all are having a beautiful start to your week, and I hope you have an even better rest of your weekend. I am your hostess with the mostest. They call me Jerm, and you are, of course, tuned into Kinetic Aesthetic. Going to start off by saying I hope that you all have been able to check out the live stream reactions I've done to the Drake albums. I've got all three of them done. The third one was released literally this morning, a little bit before I started recording this. So go and check them out. My review for the entire trilogy of albums will be coming out on Wednesday. Whole lot of music I still need to just, I want to listen to it all a second time, maybe a third time. Just go and make sure I know how I feel about it. But yeah, I have a lot to say. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to just the reactions and a lot of these little copyright strikes that he's been doing on people just trying to react on Twitter. There's so much that needs to be said about it, so we're going to get into that. But today, we're starting things off by getting an episode that I wanted to get out last week out of the way. And the episode I'm talking about is a review for this third season of Euphoria. The show on HBO Max, it was a hit for the first season with Zendaya as the lead. She, of course, still is, but this newest season, it went from being a show about high school kids who were dealing with a lot of drug problems and, just real adult-ass issues to now it is completely transformed and morphed into a show about drug runners, about guys who are in debt to mob bosses, and it just feels like it's leaned into all of the worst aspects of the show, which is what I want to get into. So consider this just a rant of me talking about this season of television, because as somebody who I was honestly a really big fan of the show, especially when it comes to Zendaya and the acting that she was doing, she is being done a disservice. This is a waste of her talents, a waste of her time. And yeah, I'll just start there, because the thing that really will draw you in about Euphoria, if you are able to get past all the gratuity and all just the nastiness of it, is that Zendaya was doing such a good job on seasons 1 and 2 of telling the story of a young addict we're understanding her trauma and her struggles, how she lost her father at a young age, how that led to her getting started with all of her drug problems and everything like that. We're introduced to other people that she's friends with who are also going through their shit. Sydney Sweeney's character, Cassie. Yes, on season 3, she is literally the worst human alive. And we're going to get into that more in depth. But it's only so bad because in season 1 and season 2, to a certain extent, we were able to get a much better idea of who she was, of how she got to this point, seeing her childhood memories of her dad being strung out and all, and how that affected her and everything like that. It gave us an understanding as to how she was and how she got to this point. And it gave a better credence and understanding as to how she ended up having all of the problems with men that she had in that first season. And even then, season 2, it still gave you a good background and a good foundation as to fall back on as to why she would be doing some of the dumb shit that she started doing in season 2. But it's like in season 3, they completely decided to take both of those two characters who had some of the best writing, or at least some of the best, who are handled the best on the entire show, and they've made them one note. Rue to a lesser extent, but that's only because Rue is the only one who really has attention and detail added into her plot line. Cassie's character, Sydney Sweeney, has went from being just a boy crazy, emotionally stunted young woman to a scandalous bitch, for lack of a better term. She marries Nate, which is already just crazy enough. But then just the whole, every episode that has aired since she's been married to him has made me dislike her more and more as a person. And I feel like that is the real crux of the entire season with a lot of these characters, because even Rue herself is suffering from it. The choices that these characters are being written to make, it's like Sam Livingston, who is the show's writer and creator. He decided to completely just say fuck all of the previous character development and all the writing that had went into them. It's that bad. And moving on, the other actor that I want to give a lot of credit to, we've got Jacob Elordi. Okay, sorry. I wanted to make sure I had Jacob Elordi's name right. But no, he's been doing a wonderful job as Nate this season, but he is honestly the character that suffers from character assassination this season the worst, because the Nate in seasons 1 and 2 was a calculating, narcissistic, he was doing a lot of crazy, like, irreprehensible shit, like sneaking into Maddie's room with a gun, holding it to her just to get the CD. But there was depth to his character. He had motivations, and he was active, you know? He felt like an active character who could defend himself, who could do things, who could get shit done, compared to this season where Nate is spending most of this season getting his ass beat, getting his limbs chopped off, and then the highlight of the season for him is the scene where he's literally begging the fucking city council to allow him to move on with this project for the construction company he owns now. It's ridiculous, and to be perfectly honest with you, the first 3 episodes had me genuinely feeling bad for this man. The same guy who I just talked about how he had snuck into his ex-girlfriend's house with a gun, pointed it at her, and threatened her to get a fucking CD of his dad fucking some student. Yeah, this is a whole crazy show if you don't know. It's very, very wild. And he did all of that just to get the CD back, and now we're just seeing him reduced to nothingness, to this petty, pathetic, weak shell of who he used to be. And while I understand some people will enjoy that and see this as him getting his comeuppance, I'm not able to get into it and enjoy this because I don't feel like he's really gotten to that point yet. I don't really feel like I've seen enough of him being a dickhead, or I don't think, especially just in this season itself. Like, if you take away seasons 1 and 2 and then just come into season 3, you're going to think that Nate is just a guy who's being done horribly wrong. And again, that just is a big part of the problem. It's a big part of the issue. None of these characters have been handled right. None of them have been shown respect. Jules, the other character, Hunter Schafer's character, I don't know where to begin with this. I'm just, for the record, I'm reviewing this episodes 1 through 5. I have yet to see episode 6. I'm probably going to watch it after I get done recording this. The episode 5, where Lexi hires Jules to make a painting for the TV show she's working on. Jules is one of the most insufferable, most annoying, shitty people in the show just because of the way she handles this whole situation. She's asked to, use as a reference this real famous painting. I can't think of the name of it, but it was just a painting of people having a picnic next to some water. It was supposed to be just a nice little TV-friendly painting that they could put up there to just use for one of the characters. But instead, she decides to make that painting with that style, but instead of it just being TV-friendly, there's dicks everywhere on the painting. Everybody has their dick out. It's a whole bunch of penises. It's unnecessary. And when it gets pointed out to her and called out by the TV show's producers in a non-aggressive, non-threatening, non-adversarial way, she responds by throwing a temper tantrum, by acting like she's being persecuted, by throwing paint all over it. I think the biggest issue I have with Jules' character this season is that it feels like this is almost like a way for Sam Livingston to just write trans people as this emotionally unstable demographic where you really just can't trust them to do simple shit like just make a painting for a TV show. It has been presenting her as self-centered, as narcissistic, which she has always been, even though I will admit in seasons 1 and 2, there was a lot more, it was shaded a lot better. You didn't necessarily pick up on it unless you were really paying attention to the shitty things that she did. But in this season, she is just completely unlikable, and it's just, I never got the feeling that she was this bad of a person. So that's just another issue. It feels like everybody in this show has regressed, and I don't understand if that's part of the plot yet. But yeah, the only character that I really can say that I have walked away from these first 5 episodes actually enjoying has been Maddie, and even that has sort of fallen by the wayside with the last episode because of how she's being prepared or being positioned to do her old best friend Cassie. Because, and you know what, just gonna spoil shit. If you haven't seen it already, you should go watch it. If not, I'm really not you're not missing much by me saying all this. You're not going to miss out on the experience. A lot of this shit is just gratuitous anyway. But Maddie is living in Hollywood, living in LA. She's working as an assistant to some big Hollywood agent, somebody in the industry. And so she's trying to catch her big break because her boss is not allowing her to flourish. She had an OnlyFans model that she was trying to manage, but got told to drop it. So she ends up reconnecting with Cassie after she goes to her and Nate's wedding, which was wild, by the way. Nate's mom said some real disrespectful shit to her. Maddie was really actually being positioned as a very sympathetic character up until a certain point. So she starts working with Cassie, trying to help her when Cassie wants to get into OnlyFans and do shit like that. And that within itself is that's a whole arc for them. What's really starting to go bad is that she's starting to get involved with Rue's boss, who we're gonna get into in a second. But Rue's boss is he's not a pimp. He is a human trafficker, which is basically what we're being shown. He moonlights them all as strip clubs, but in reality, there's a lot of these girls who could not leave if they wanted to. And so we're being introduced to this new plot, to this new arc of Maddie basically working with human traffickers, and she's going to be sort of intermingling Cassie with that world. We don't know if it's going to get really dark for either one of them, but things aren't looking good. And yeah, the one character on the show that might have been a little likable, that you might have been able to really root for, it's like you just sort of completely just shit on them. And the only other character that people might think of as likable would be Lexi, Cassie's sister. And I have a problem even with her whole portrayal this season, and that is because of the whole Fezco dynamic. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Angus Cloud was an actor on Euphoria. He was one of the more popular people on the series. Fezco was awesome. That was my nigga on the seasons 1 and 2. He was a drug dealer who would sell Rue her shit. He was like a big brother figure to her, though, because even he at certain points, especially in season 2, was getting to her. It was like he wasn't going to sell her shit or deal with it because he didn't like seeing her strung out the way she was. Well, basically, Fezco and his little homie, his little brother, they end up getting caught up in a setup because of a dude who was a rat. He ends up bringing the police to their house after they end up having to kill some other drug dealer because he was planning on doing some crazy shit to not only Rue, but to pretty much everybody. It turned into a mess. Season 2 was very crazy with this plot line. But one of the things that was wholesome about the show and that a lot of people liked was this plot line where Lexi and Fezco were starting to get to know each other. They were getting involved, and it looked like they had a budding romance. The season 2 ends with Fez's little brother being shot and killed after he gets into he for some reason tried to get into a gunfight with the cops. Fez is arrested. As far as we know, he is still in prison as of season 3. But the shitty part about it all is that Angus Cloud, the actor who portrays him, he died in real life. And so it's crazy because Sam Livingston has come out and said that he was going to make him pretty much like the big focal point of season 3. Of course, it was going to be Rue, but it was probably, instead of Cassie, it was going to be Fez who was going to be getting a majority of the attention and development. And so I feel sympathy for everybody involved on the show, more so especially the family, but I feel sympathy for everyone on the show because I know how important of a part of everything that they had going on that he was. But I just don't like the way that they've handled his character being missing from season 3. What I don't like is that they had a very good way out to just sort of portray, hey, they ended up shooting him at the end of it. He died in prison or he got stabbed. Something. They could have done anything. But instead, what they've decided to do, and keep in mind, this actor he's not getting a posthumous credit where he's going to be getting money for any like unused scenes or anything. All they're doing is that at random points in this season so far, Rue will be on the phone or Rue will talk to people about Fez as if he is still alive in their universe, just in prison. There is a whole scene where she is driving on the way to some type of deal where she gets on the phone with this man. And we're supposed to believe that she's having a conversation with this man who we know in real life is gone and just doesn't exist. It just did not sit well with me. I don't like it. It's sort of like they're playing with the idea that they can still have their cake and eat it too, with him being there even though he's not. She talks about him doing some type of prison break. I don't like it. I feel like they should have just handled it with better care, or just let him rest and be gone, because I'm just not really feeling it. It doesn't make me feel good. And Lexi coming out and saying that she's never going to talk to him after everything that happened, I don't fuck with her. It makes me think less of her. So it's real shitty on everybody's part. I think Sam should have had, a better, cooler mind should have prevailed, and they should have just allowed Angus and his family to not have to, even be loosely involved with this season. Just give him that little tribute of at the end of episode 1 or something, but don't sit there playing in our faces about him still being there, especially if they're gonna just have the season end with him still being in prison and he's just there. So yeah. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to touch on before I get into the things that I sort of have liked about this season. I just don't understand the plot. I don't understand how we got from high school and everything into now Rue is a drug mule. Rue decided, even though she owes this drug lord Lori money, that she's going to stay in California and just get a job at a fucking smoke shop in plain view. I don't understand Nate and his whole, this whole idea he had of dealing with these mob bosses, of thinking that he can maneuver around in this world. There's so many ideas that just feel crazy, and not even in a, oh damn, this is some wild shit, type of crazy. Just like, this would not happen. People involved, like someone like Rue would never be able to get as far as she did. They wouldn't be able to be in the rooms with some of the people that she's in the rooms with. Same thing with Nate. Same thing with Cassie being as dumb as she is and idiotic. Actually, I don't think I really ever got touched on Cassie and her character and just how bad it is. Her character and the way that they handle her. Literally the opening of episode 4, I think it's literally just her having some type of daydream where she's just walking around some mock city, and it ends with her just bearing her fucking titties against the wall. Like, if you like Sydney Sweeney, if you always want an excuse to see her boobs, go watch Euphoria season 3. That's probably the best selling point they have right now, is that you see a lot of Sydney Sweeney in her tits. But literally outside of that, really just like, who is it for? Who is that whole plot line for with Sydney Sweeney's character for, except horny ass niggas? I don't see the plot line of it. Everybody's horrible. Yeah, I don't even want to continue talking about the negative aspects of the show. I feel like I've made my point. All of them are fucking horrible. When it comes to the good stuff, though, in terms of stuff that you can actually look forward to and enjoy, I have to say, Alamo Brown, as detestable as the character is and how scary and brooding and intimidating he is, what's the actor's name? Well, again, I don't know a lot of motherfuckers' names. I apologize for that. But Alamo, he stars. Alamo, and this is a very hard to pronounce name. Adewale Akinwumi Agbaje. Adewale Akinwumi Agbaje. He plays Alamo. He does an amazing job. I can honestly say that this is probably the best part of season 3, is just a lot of the scenes that he's involved in, because he just brings an intensity. He does a good job of just acting with his eyes and making sure that you can just feel how he's feeling just by looking there. And not only him, you've also got his little right-hand man, this guy, what's his name? Daryl Britt Gibson. He is playing an actor. He's playing a role of Bishop. Bishop is the star of the season so far for me. Every scene he's in, he's cool, calm, and collected. Him and Marshawn Lynch just play this perfect little yin and yang of Alamo's crew. You've got the real serious guy over here in Bishop, who Like the scene of him putting on all the little white clothes, the little cleaning shit, and before getting ready to go in there and hacksaw somebody, where he's talking to Rue about how he doesn't trust her and he's like nervous around her. He brings tension. Like both of them, they bring a tension and they just bring an intensity to all of their scenes. Every time they're involved, you're sort of just drawn to them. You're wondering what they're going to do next, especially when it comes to Bishop. The episodes, well, not even just the episodes, every scene that they're in is a scene that I am just locked in on and I want to know what's going to happen next. Rue herself has honestly taken a back seat for me, especially when they're involved, just because I feel like Zendaya, she's still doing a decent job, but it just feels like she isn't trying to give it that same intensity as compared to them. And I get it. She's probably on to bigger and better things, and it's just giving them room to just shine, because I really am, I'm almost nervous about what's going to happen with both of these characters for the rest of the season. Alamo, you don't know what's going to happen with him. He's so damn trigger happy on every episode, getting ready to kill somebody. We're already seeing what's going on with the birds and shit like that. And then you've got Bishop, who I don't know if he's a Fed. I don't know if he really is loyal to Alamo. All I know is that it feels like at the end of the season, whatever side he decides to be on, that's going to be the side that wins. But yeah, really, that's my only plus. Marshawn Lynch as well deserves some credit for how well he's been doing, although he's literally just there to play the funny grunt, the guy who's big as hell, scary as hell. You don't want to fuck with him, but they're not having Marshawn Lynch do anything except just be Marshawn Lynch in Euphoria. So that's why I'm enjoying his part. But yeah, that's really what I've got to say about this season of Euphoria so far. I'm still watching and I'm still trying to see what's going to happen. Like I said, I'm going to watch episode 6 after I get done recording this so that I can go check it out and see if it's gotten any better. Because honestly, outside of the Rue storyline and Alamo and Bishop, this show has really fallen by the wayside. It is not too far to say that it's just lost the plot. As good acting as like Alamo, Bishop, and Rue are doing, that doesn't like take away from the fact that some of this shit is still ridiculous and just dumb. So if I have to like say, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this season to anybody. If you haven't watched Euphoria already, I would probably say start at seasons 1 and end at season 2. Season 3 is just, and it already is a gratuitous show, and you keep using that word, but you just see a lot. It's like, it feels like an excuse sometimes to sexualize a lot of these young women and just be showing dicks on the TV screen. And that really is the summary of Euphoria in a nutshell. It's just tits and dicks on your screen and drug use. And it was not charming, but it was sort of, I guess understandable the more I thought about it for seasons 1 and 2 being focused around these kids and who are all damaged and just, on drugs and shit like this, or just horrible people. But with season 3 having them out of that high school environment, with them being grown adults, with them being involved in shit that a lot of them have no business being involved in, it feels like this show has just jumped the shark, for lack of a better term. And I'm going to watch the rest of the season. I'm going to see how it ends, but I really struggle to see how this season is going to end, leaving me wanting anything more or anything close to a season 4. That's all I got for y'all, though. It's been Kinetic Aesthetic. This has been your boy Jerm. I appreciate you all so much for checking us out. Sports Talk is on the way tomorrow. We have so much to talk about when it comes to that. And then on a Wednesday, like I said, we have the trilogy review coming. So much to say, so much for me to get off my chest when it comes to this, man. But it's been Kinetic Aesthetic. It's been your boy Jerm. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day and an even better rest of your tomorrow.